YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World. Title still a mouthful. Episode 4. Title still a mouthful is not part of the title. So this episode, we continue the story into investigating the corrupt mana seeds. After being attacked by who I call Yogurt last week, they are saved by a resistance group. It's like, are you with the resistance? Yes, I'm with the resistance. This is what resistance groups look like. Some of us. Others look different. So then once they compare notes and we're like, we're on the same side, we start planning ideas for how to attack this guy. And all of Red's ideas are Megazord. Like, just smash him with the Megazord, blast him with the Megazord. And every time, Yudra's like, no, that'll cause damage. It's just, he's so hyped up about pressing that Megazord button, which is funny. They ultimately come to the conclusion that they need to have Red and Lowji work together, which of course leads to them bickering and all that stuff. And this episode is a lot about that dynamic. In the comment discussion last week, people brought up that that dynamic very much reminds them of like a main writer and a secondary writer, which is very true, but also along with the Sentai stuff, reminds me of a classic dynamic between your classic Red Ranger. I just said classic so many times, I'm so sorry, my vocabulary needs to be better. But you know, that's the traditional Sentai Red character, and then also the blue character that's kind of more by the books type, and they butt heads, very much evoking that, for sure. And then that all kind of gets stirred up with this weird love quadrangle stuff they're doing. It's not really, it's just two different pairings. They're doing a lot of stuff with the shipping of Yidra and Red I'm just not here for. Like, I don't hate it, I just don't really care about it. But it's more so about Lowji becoming jealous when Taltina is telling him, like, not that she likes him, but like she's just showing him some respect and is like, you know, I'm sure you're gonna help us out tomorrow. And he's like, no, I'm only supposed to be your hero. And we see like why that's important later, but that kind of stirs all that type of stuff up, and he winds up stealing his Band-Aid thing so he can't transform, and when they get to the battle he gets knocked out and it's just Lowji on his own. And they do tie this together in a cool way where it shows why bonds are both important to them. When Red falls into the lake or with a moat or whatever the hell, he has like flashbacks talking to somebody. I'm not sure who this is. It didn't seem like it was one of the core Sentai members, maybe a mentor or something, but they were talking about why bonds are so important to him, that he was so lonely, and so making these bonds is even more important. A very classic Sentai scene, but drives home like why making bonds is important to him. And then Lowji, it shows why his bond is so important with with Taltina, because we find out he was kind of shunned because he doesn't have very much mana in comparison to everybody else. But that's the reason he was chosen by Taltina to wield this sword that basically sucks the mana out of you when you use it, but because he basically doesn't have any mana, he can use it no problem. And she was the first one to ever give him a chance, and he was worried that because Red's also from a world without mana, that he'll take over as her hero and get the sword. And she's like, no, like, I also chose you because I'm kind of like the loser. It was kind of like that scene in Venom 1 where like, we're both losers. That's kind of what it was like, and that's why they chose each other, and she kind of reassured him. And then everyone kumbaya fights together at the end. But I thought that was well done, because again, it felt like a classic red and blue clashing dynamic from Sentai, and also showed that bonds are both important to them, but their differences are kind of getting in the way of them talking about their similarities, and they probably could form a bond themselves. But the funniest part for me, though, two of the funniest parts, was when Taltina is giving the monologue to Lowji about why he's important to her. Yidra is like getting so frustrated. She's like, the barrier is breaking, we don't have time for this. And then like Red says something else too, very Sentai-like, and she's like pulling her hair out over this. It's hilarious. The other funny part was just them, after working together again when he got his Morpher powers back, arguing, and he's like, no, we can have a bond together. And he's like, no, we can't. I just can't stand your hot-headed main character sensibilities. And that was so on the nose and hilarious, and it was almost meta, because it sounds like me complaining about every hot-headed Red character ever. They do wind up like defeating him, but then it turns into this giant seed that's going to crash onto the city, and that's the cliffhanger we leave on. I thought it was another good episode. I think it really did a good job at furthering this main story, getting us to understand the Taltina and Lowji characters a little bit, and seeing some similarities in the past. Love the flashback again to Red Sentai days. I thought that was well done. You know, there wasn't as many Sentai elements in this, but it was done very well. Like I said last week, I think that they should not overdo that. Like, every episode shouldn't be about let's make fun of Sentai stuff. It was kind of in there sparingly, like when he talked about being annoyed by that main character, couple of gags about the explosions. But yeah, still really enjoying this series. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.